Hello, fellow YouTubers. Welcome back to Power Up Gamers. I'm Driven D&D, the Disabled DM. Today I'm gonna be doing a PDF review. The PDF I've chosen is called Servants of the Dragon, and it's written by Andy Pavlides. It's a pretty short PDF, only 14 pages long, pretty simple to understand, and the format, it's really easy to read. One of the things I don't like right from the beginning is there's no real cover page. All the pages is a white background, which makes it look more like a Word document type thing instead of a PDF. I think he could have added some color to the pages, a nice cover page with some really nice cover art to really make this stand out. With that being said, he does a really brief one paragraph introduction talking about dragons and some of the concepts of a dragon, such as they require solitude, they hide in deep caverns, and they rely on the fearsome reputation to protect the treasure. And then he talks how some of them rely on minions and underlings, which is basically what this PDF is it gives 12 draconic minions of challenge ratings 1/2 up to challenge rating 5. Overall, the artwork's okay inside of the PDF. Some of it's better than others. Some is black and white. Some's covered. So I would have liked to see in the artwork all at higher consistency standards, and all done in color to really make this PDF stand out. Table of contents is pretty simple. It just lists each of the draconic minions and what page they're on. And there's some pretty interesting stuff. They have what's called an Azeron, a Bion Kurvik, I believe is how you would say it. Then they have a couple dragonborns, such as a battle leader, a defender, a warrior, a sorcerer, a drake, and several different types of kobolds, which we'll go into, and then a Veridon. So the Azeron he has the name bolded, nice size print, but the description of it is in a really tiny print that is somewhat hard to read, even at 103% zoom rate. So that's something he should have been aware of, that this would make it for people who have trouble seeing but aren't blind. This could be difficult for them to read that section. So what is an Azeron? He says here that they're a race of monstrous humanoids created by blue dragons. And with powerful and forbidden magic on their own eggs and their powerful servants and guards. They stand and an impressive 9 feet tall, muscular bodies, thick hard hide, a brownish blue color and turning into turquoise. They have snouts, reptilian features, and a short tail. Oh, so this right away makes me think these are basically really tall, uh, lizardmen type creatures. He says they use battle axes, but they have very powerful claws and strong jaws, and some they have innate magic. They mostly in deserts, and they serve blue dragons, according to this PDF. Very territorial, ill-tempered. So it really fits in with kind of the lizard man or giant humanoid salamander type feel. Excuse me. The alignment is lawful evil. And he does pretty good with the stat block in that he follows the same setup that would be in the monster manual. So I do enjoy that. He gives armor class, hit points, speed, the stats, saving throws, skills, damage resistance. CR rating for this particular minion is a CR5. And then he has some traits for them. One of the things I found was really interesting and actually really useful, and I'll probably put this as a racial trait or feature, or possibly a feat that my players could take. Is he made something called quickened ability, and it's once per short rest. And what this does is it allows him to use one of his innate spells as a bonus action. And then he has to do a short rest before he can use it again. I would change this up a little bit to be either innate spells or innate abilities. And that's how I would use it. But I love the concept of it. He then gives it innate spell casting, which is spellcasting abilities, charisma, spell save DC 13, so not overpowered. But it allows this creature to cast as 2 spells else, and they require no material or some aromatic components. So, or all they have to do is speak, and this happens. And once per day, he can use blindness or slow, 1 target only, and then twice per day, he can use magic missile. Pretty good, enough to be a challenge, but not overly powerful. And for his actions, the Azeron has mortal attack, so it can attack twice with its great axe, or it can do a claw attack and a bite attack. And then he lists out the stats for that. Really strong on the to hit because it gets a +8 to hit. So to hit chainmail, for example, which is an AC 16, and the monster only has to roll an 8 or higher on the dice because it gets a +8 to hit. Damage is okay. The bites 2d6 +5 piercing. The claws 1d6 +5 piercing. And then the gray axe is 2d10 +5 slashing. So not too bad, but it could definitely present a good challenge. And then he goes into what I believe is pronounced Bayan and Kerak. Some nice artwork for this particular minion. Again, the middle introduction section's kind of hard to read. But these are a race of large crude humanoids that were created by white dragons. And these are like over 8 feet tall, strong bodies covered with thick white to light gray hide. They had large rings, and they're armored with sharp teeth and claws. They kind of give me the feeling of what I would consider like a large bat if it was crossed with a dragon or a drake. A kind of deal. They like cold climate. It's the primal violent. They don't get along with dragonborn, but they tolerate kobolds. So that could be in some interesting role play if the dragon and that these guards also have dragonborn guarding it. The chaotic evil, and again he follows the monster manual pretty good. They can fly 50 feet, and then they can walk 30 feet, so they can get around pretty good. Pretty standard. They have dark vision, and the challenge rating of 3, so not super difficult. But the racial of ability is called vicious, and this can be super harmful or if the creature rolls a crit. Because what happens is it deals an extra 2d6 slashing damage whenever it goes a critical with its claws. It gets multi-attack, a bite attack, and an attack with the claws. +6 to hit on both. So, not bad. A little bit better than the first race. And when they hit on a bite, it's 2d6 +4 piercing damage. On claws, it's 1d6 +4. So not real difficult. Now, one thing with this on its claw attacks, if the target is not an undead or a construct, it has to do a DC 13 Constitution saving throw, or lose 1d6 hit points at the start of each of its turns due to a bleeding wound. So this would be fine if it stopped there. The problem is the ability continues on. In that each time this creature hits the wounded target with this attack, the damage dealt by the wound increases by 1d6. So this can add up pretty quick. It gets this wound, the creature hits again, then it's taking 2d6 at the start of each turn. It hits again before or its target's healed, then it's taking 3d6 per turn. So this can add up really quick. And then if it did a critical on that third attack, it would be 5d6. So this could wipe out parties really quick. However, any creature can take the full action to staunch the wound by making an successful DC 13 Wisdom Medicine check. And the wound also closes if the target receives magical healing. So it's okay. At least he included some ways to close the wound. So it didn't stack up like that. But if parties aren't aware of this feature, which most wouldn't, because this is obviously a homebrew creature, I could see an entire party wiping pretty easily before they figure out what was going on. The next creature is the Dragonborn Battle Leader. Excellent idea. Makes total sense that Dragonborns would have different ranks and roles within a tribe. I found it kind of redundant, and as Dragonborns are a race that can be played, so they actually have access to all the player classes. But I like the idea of having these is for a monster race version of the Dragonborn. But I probably would have changed it up a little bit and called them something else. But left it basically a Dragonborn, just kind of reskin it a little and rename it. Well, we all know what Dragonborns are, so I'm not going to go too much into that aspect. But the battle leaders are the warriors and the captains that lead other Dragonborns to battle. These are medium humanoids. Their alignment is similar to whatever dragon they follow, and it follows pretty much same stat block as a monster man or a bestiary. A high AC of 20, because the battle leaders have plate armor and shields. They have an action surge, which is fine once per short rest. They can take an extra action on top of its normal action and a bonus action. So that's fine. Multi-attack, they make 2 attacks. Either 2 longsword attacks or a longsword attack, and it's acid breath. I would have changed that to say use its breath weapon, because not all Dragonborns use acid. It depends on what the draconic ancestry is. Some breathe fire, some breathe acid, some breathe cold or the frost. The longsword plus 6 to hit. 1d8 plus 4 slashing damage is fine. Acid breath at once per short rest. this is fine, in my opinion, mostly because if a party's gonna come up against something like this, chances are they're gonna kill it, or be diplomatic and make friends with it. Otherwise, I would say once per short rest is probably a bit much. I would have said maybe 2 or 3 times for a long rest. Yes, and it looked just like the breath weapons listed in the player's handbook, so that's fine. He also gives it an ability called Inspiring Presence, which is once per short rest. Yes, and this allows him to give a speech each, and up to 3 allied creatures within 30 feet of it. It gains 1d8 plus 5 temporary hit points. And the creature can only benefit from this once per day. So, not too bad. Can make a battle with a lot of minions, and it's a lot tougher and more of a challenge. But overall, it's not super powerful, so I think that's fine. He then gives it another ability called Leadership, which is once per short rest. As when the Dragonborn battle leader takes this action, for 1 minute, any allied creature within 30 feet of the battle leader that can hit the leader adds a +2 bonus to its attack rolls. But it can only benefit from 1 leadership bonus at a time. And this effect ends if the battle leader is incapacitated. Not bad, but I can see that this could be super powerful, especially in conjunction with the Inspiring Presence, the acid breath of the breath weapons. So this can make this a pretty tough fight. If there's other minions with the battle leader, which you can assume there will be. He then goes into a Dragonborn Defender, and these are just Dragonborns who are dedicated bodyguards. And again, it follows about the same thing. Action surge once per short rest, which is fine. He gives it an ability called Dedicated, which makes wisdom saving throws against the condition of fear with advantage. It attempts to persuade the Dragonborn to defy its Dragon Master or made with disadvantage. Perfectly fine. I think that fits perfectly for a bodyguard. He then gives it an ability called Defender, in which they can use a bonus action to designate 1 creature within 5 feet of it as its protected query. And then melee attacks against the protected target have disadvantage as long as the Dragonborn's within 5 feet of the protected target. Okay. I think this fits the concept of a defender. It could add a little bit more of a challenge, but overall, I think it's fine. He also gives it 2 other abilities. The first one's called Dueling, and that's when it has a weapon in one hand and no other weapon. The Dragonborn gains a +2 bonus to damage rolls with that weapon, and it's included in the stats. Okay, that's fine. Doesn't change a whole lot. Doesn't make it super powerful or anything. The next one is called Whole Ground. And this I thought was interesting. If a creature evokes an opportunity attack from the Dragonborn Defender because of moving out of its reach and the attack hits, the target creature must stop its move and lose all of its remaining move speed. This to me was a bit limiting. It's interesting, it's understandable, but it takes away the player choice. And I found whenever you take away a player choice or change something up from the way they would expect it to work, it can cause issues with the players. So I probably would not have done this particular skill, or I would have said that it must stop its move and leave it there and let it have its remaining move speed. But the way I would have rolled it as a DM, if the target creature had to stop its move and then still have remaining move speed, if it tried to move again, it would provoke another opportunity attack. That's how I would have done it. It has multi-attack, which is fine, plus it's to hit on longsword, or which is okay, 1d8 plus its slashing damage, which is fine. Lightning breath, which is fine, with just like a breath weapon attack. He then goes into Dragonborn Warriors, and these are just your normal Dragonborn fighters, soldiers. They get action surge as well, which is fine. They have great sword fighting, which gives us 2 bonus to damage rolls with great swords, so not too bad. The actions are great sword attack, javelin, so they can throw javelins, +5 to hit, damage is reasonable, and then they got poisonous as their breath attack in a 15-foot cone, which is fine. DC 12, or they take 2d6 poison damage on a fail-safe and half as much on a successful. So that's fine. Perfectly what you would expect from a Dragonborn. Excuse me. Have to apologize. I think I'm coming down with the cold. The next one is Dragonborn Sorcerer. And these are obviously your age class. They give them an armor class of 14 because of natural armor, which I probably would have said armor class 12 because I think of nothing but clothes or skin or fur as armor class 10. And they would have scales, so I would have bumped it up 2. He bumped it up for a Dragonborn Sorcerer would be basically the equivalent to or someone like a rogue in leather armor, which is okay. A little bit more protected than I picture magic casters. Is he then gives it for different abilities. The first is combat casting, which is pretty simple, just gives the advantage to Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration on spells. That's fine. The second ability is called Font of Magic. It's once per day, and the Dragonborn can use a bonus action to recover expended spell slots. They may recover 2 first-level spell slots and 1 second-level spell slot, or recover 1 first-level spell slot and 1 third-level spell slot. And then they have to complete a long rest before using this ability again. I like this idea because it adds a bit more utility to a caster. A lot of times, if you press on for like 24 hours or 48 hours as a party, your wizard or your caster's gonna run out of spells. So this ability helps give them that back without having to stop and rest all the time. The next one abilities empower spell, and they can do this once per day. And this allows the Dragonborn sorcerer to reroll up to 3 damage dice of a spell, and they have to use the new rolls. Okay, not overly powerful, or in that you're still not changing the total damage that a spell can do, but I can see where it could be a bit dangerous, is in that it may do more damage than expected by re-rolling the dice. He then gives it spell casting, and they consider all Dragonborn sorcerers as an 8th level arcane spellcaster, which is pretty good. It's a CR5, so it's power-wise, it's balanced. And it has the following sorcerer spells prepared. For cantrips, it has Blade Ward, Light, Mage Hand, Minor Illusion, and Ray of Frost. So not bad. First level, and it gets 4 spell slots. It has Disguise Self, Shield, and Thunder Wave. So could be a challenge there. Second level, it has 3 slots in which it has Blur and Scorching Ray. Third level has 3 slots, Dispel Magic and Fireball. So now it's a pretty tough CR5 fight. And then it has 2 slots for 4th level, and it has Dimension Door and Locate Creature. So right there, it's a really hard challenge just to face one of these. And you might be facing 2 along with a battle leader and maybe a couple defenders in the lair. Its actions are pretty reasonable. It lists out +4 to hit on a dagger attack, which is 1d4 +1 piercing damage. Perfectly fine. That's what I would expect a caster to use if they were out of magic. Ray of Frost, which is its cantrip, +6 to hit, 2d8 cold damage, and target's speed is reduced by 10 feet till start of sorcerer's next turn. And again, it follows right in with the cantrip, the spell, so perfectly fine. And then it has fire breath at 15-foot cone, dex save 13 to take a 3d6 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much as on a successful save. So again, this is fine because it's natural or breath weapon for a dragonborn, but when you take into account all the spells and its other abilities, this makes it a really tough fight. I would say almost deadly to face one of these. So your players have to be on the up and up for it. They then go into a Drake, which is a lesser dragonkin, and they give physical description and terrain and damage types, breath weapons. Artwork's decent. Pretty good. I don't think I would have changed anything on the Drake. It only gets 2 attribute abilities outside of its dragon breath. One's called Hardy, and that gives saving throws and survival checks to to avoid gaining exhaustion levels are made with advantage. They can go twice as long without food or water. They can hold their breath for twice as long before suffocating. So that's fine. Then they have keen smell, and that just gives them advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on smell. So perfectly fine. On multi-attack, they can make a claw and bite attack or a tail and bite attack, which is fine. Damage is perfectly reasonable. All the attacks that are physical have a +7 to hit, and this is a CR4 rating, so not too bad. A little bit tough there. Then they have the cold breath, which recharges every 5 to 6 rounds. So not bad. And they make a note, different drakes have different breath weapons. One thing that would be tough is that these drakes have both dark vision and blind sight. So that's something you could really play as a DM with it, and making it where the party doesn't necessarily see the Drake, but the Drake can see them pretty easily. Then he goes into a kobold pack leader, and the pack leaders are basically just stronger, sneakier, and more intelligent than normal kobolds. And They fit basically right along with what's in the monster manual. The expert trappers, they use pack tactics. However, one thing I found interesting is they gave it a vulnerability to sunlight. So when they're in sunlight, the kobold has disadvantages on attack rolls and perception checks that rely on sight. I thought this was a brilliant move because it makes sense. Kobolds would live in caves. They would probably be more nocturnal. They might live underground. So this made sense, but it kind of surprised me because normally DMs just throw kobolds in. They say they're living in the forest. They don't really go into where the lairs are unless it's a specific part of the campaign, such as raiding a kobold lair. Kobold Shaman is the next one. Again, reasonable. Challenge ratings 1/2, so not bad. These are pretty easy in that their only cantrips is mending and produce flame, and then they have 3 first-level spell slots for Cure Wounds, Entangle, or Thunder Wave. So not real hard to beat. A Kobold Sorcerer's net CR rating runs, so again pretty easy. They give the Kobold Sorcerer the same ability that the Dragonborn Sorcerer had, called Font of Magic, in which it can use its bonus action to recover her spell slots. So not too bad. Then they have a Kobold Squad. And this is an abstract group of 4 to 5 kobolds that fight together as a single entity. Almost like what we would think of a swarm, but they work a little bit differently. I thought this was brilliant because this is how goblins, kobolds, hobgoblins, stuff of that nature would fight. They would fight as a squad or a pack. One thing I thought was interesting was one of the abilities he gives a kobold squad is called Squad. And what this does is it takes double damage from all area attacks. But it can pass through any opening that a small creature can pass through, and it makes saving throws that affect a single individual with advantage. So this could lead to the party wiping them out pretty easily if they can figure out that they take double damage from area attacks. Then the last creature they have is called a Vibodon. It's a large humanoid that's lawful evil. 17 armor class. Has damage resistance to poison. And it's a CR4. And then they make a note that the presence of one of these in an encounter increases the adjusted XP budget of the encounter by 15%. They have poison resistance, which is fine, and they are immune to their own poison, which is perfectly fine. They get cunning action once per short rest, which just is like the rogue skill, except that once they use it, they have to take a short rest before they can use it again, where rogues don't. So that's perfectly fine. They get multi-attack. They can attack twice with the mace, or one bite and one mace attack, which is fine. Plus it's to hit on both types of attacks, which is fine. Damage is fine. However, on the bite attack, target must make a Constitution saving throw of a DC 13 against poison. If they fail, they're poisoned. If they fail by 5 or more, they're paralyzed, and they can repeat it at the saving throw at the end of each of the turns. So not too bad. This could be dangerous in that if they paralyze one party member and they start biting others, you could end up with the entire party paralyzed if everyone rolls bad. So I can see why this would be a CR for just on that alone. So that's basically the entire PDF. Some good things about it, some bad things that could have been improved on. I like the concept. I like the idea that dragons could use minions or servants. I like the fact he came up with something, because too often that's not done, or they just throw really weak minions in to protect this big bad dragon. So by having that CR rating range, and it gives it a bit more logic behind it. So I would encourage my viewers to check this PDF out. It's available or under Pay What You Want, either on the DM's Guild or Drive Through RPG, or perhaps both sites. Definitely worth picking up, because I can see it being useful if your campaign's based around on a dragon as the big bad guy or boss monster. So there you have it. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. And as always, may the dice roll in your favor.